Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Talking Wolves podcast. Another international break is finally here. Some Wolves fans will be happy to hear that. But of course, it's been a hectic week once again. We'll talk all about the Chelsea game, who's going to be coming in as the new head coach for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and of course, answering your questions. My name is Dave. Alongside me, we've got two co-hosts today. We've got Mr. Finn Morris returning, and we've got making his debut, I think, on the Talking Wolves podcast, Mr. Kieran Nui from the old Goal Pack. Key, thanks for jumping on. Quite short notice as well, so I appreciate it. How you been keeping?
Yeah, all good. All good. Looking forward to chatting it through, seeing I can get rid of some demons following the most recent stress. But yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
No, our pleasure, man. Yeah, it's almost like a therapy session sometimes, these podcasts are. But I think there's so much to talk about, not just about the game yesterday. There's so much going on in the head coach situation, a little bit of controversy with that, which we'll get, obviously, our takes on as well. But Finn, I know I caught up with you a couple of days ago. How you been?
Pretty rinse and repeat as all season. Personal life's fine, but Wolves keep trying to drag it down every week.
Yeah.
But I'm not been defeated yet. But yeah, you could probably rinse and repeat this. This podcast especially, we're going to have a little bit more to talk about. But God, it's been stale, hasn't it?
Yeah, the timing, as you two are aware, the timing of last week's podcast wasn't ideal because me and George recorded it Sunday morning, and I tried to get the feelers out to see if Vitor Pereira's what his job security was like. And at the time, there was no news. Me and George recorded it, and literally as we finished, stopped recording, Vitor was sacked. So, we still put the podcast out because a lot of what we said in regards to the team and so on was still relevant. But international break now. The darts is on for anyone interested in Wolverhampton as well. I'm actually going tonight, so looking forward to that. But we do, unfortunately, have to talk about yesterday's game. It finished Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. James Collins and Richard Walker in the dugout for Wolves. And the stats aren't pretty reading. 18 shots for Chelsea with 7 on target to Wolves, 3 shots with 0 on target. Just 36% of the ball for Wolves. Finn, starting lineup, I think it's probably as safe as you would have expected in terms of a lineup. He reintroduced some players that had performed. Obviously, reintroducing Andre and João Gomez, I think, had to be done following last week. But any thoughts? Any players that maybe should have got the nod? Or, or were you surprised to see left out yesterday?
No, I'm surprised we had 3 shots, to be fair. Because I swear, when me and Matt were talking about it, it was one shot that must have been the 80th minute. So there must have been 2. I can't even picture the last 2 shots. It was Bellegarde's.
The end.
Of course, yeah. It was Bellegarde's sort of 25-yarder, wasn't it? There was the one shot. So that's a bit of a positive. But no, yeah, the lineup, I don't know. There's been so many changes, and obviously under Vitor, I think he'd changed the lineup most, hadn't he, of all Premier League managers so far this season. And I don't want to advocate for even more tinkering. And, I've been a massive advocate of the 5 at the back. And then we had those early discussions at the start of the season that, with that quality of wing back that we've got now, does it have to become a 4? And we find that quality from elsewhere. And thinking about it out loud, I don't think any combination is gonna with those players is gonna bring consistent, successful results. However, I just look at other teams. Brentford, they've always got a striker, and you think they'll be down there with us maybe, and they've got Schade, Dango, Damsgaard, or West Ham, Paqueta, Bowen, Somerville. It feels like they took 4 attackers on at least. And every Wolves fan's mind is like, oh, well, it's got to be Strand Larsen, maybe one attacker, and then Manetzi or Bellegarde for defensive. Yeah. We've already got enough defensive players on the pitch. And I don't know whether this is just a retaliation because of the results, because, as you say, that 6 in a row last year, that was Manetzi and Bellegarde, let alone another forward-thinking player. So I just feel like, especially with the performance, you've got Fer Lopez, you've got Arias, you've got Mane. Give one of them a go. Because there's nothing up there. But for me, the lineup didn't surprise me. It just disappoints me every week, but we're letting in goals and we're not scoring any. So do we go even more defensive, or do we just, I don't know, let the leash off a bit? I'll be interested to see what Rob Edwards does with that first team, but I really hope there's just a little bit more to challenge the other team, because the best form of defence is attack, isn't it, sometimes? And we don't give anyone anything to worry about the other end. So it's just an onslaught, as we saw in that first half. Yeah,
I said a couple of times yesterday, I think the first half was not a pretty watch, but ultimately at the time, obviously it was 0-0. We had to absorb a lot of pressure, but there wasn't a lot going forward. And I think if Wolves do want any chance of staying in the Premier League this season, we're not going to be playing free-flowing attacking football. There are going to be certain games that are going to feel like slogs, and hopefully we can try and get points out of it. Key, one of the sort of players that missed out yesterday, especially in terms of the squad. We knew that maybe one or two of the under-21s players were going to be involved. We saw Mateus Mane come on, who we'll talk about. Tawanda Traore on the bench. No Fair Lopez completely missed out on the squad. Tactical decision, we think.
Oh, was he not?
No, he missed out completely. So there's players like that where already after joining 3 or 4 months ago, there's question marks on their future. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Rob Edwards, who obviously we'll talk more about in detail later on, but what he does and how he approaches this team. But players like that, it's worrying, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't really get that. I think there's a definite player there in Fer Lopez. I don't think he's necessarily been given the right chance. The other bit that I didn't understand about yesterday though is Strand Larsen isn't really doing anything right now for us up top, and Tolu's not getting a chance. He's not getting an opportunity to come on and kind of do anything. So, yeah, I think the first half, I think our defensive block worked well. I think it was working hard, really well for us. But as soon as that first goal went in, just kind of crumbled again, didn't it? And I think Garnacho just absolutely ruined us yesterday, to be honest. So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what Rob can do with this squad, with these players. If you listen to a lot of the media or watch Match of the Day this morning, completely writing us off. That's it. They don't really see that there's anything kind of going on there. So, yeah, it's worrying times to kind of see what's going on. The bright thing coming out yesterday was Mane probably coming on, being given a chance. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go with that.
Yeah,
I think he's got to stop losing his head though, Mane, and giving away fouls like that. Hasn't he?
Oh yeah, absolute filth. Yeah.
My God,
I don't get that. In the slightest.
I didn't even know who the referee was yesterday. I'd never seen him. Genuinely, never heard or seen of him in my life. But yeah,
I mean, he gave the reason he gave the free kick was the handball, wasn't it? Because Mane basically picked up the ball as he went.
Yeah.
So that was the reason that the free kick was given. But to not give a foul,
there was 2 fouls in there, wasn't there? There was a little nudge originally, as well. And the referee's right behind it, so he should have seen it. But yeah, that was a bright performance because ultimately you've got 11 players plus first team substitutes out there that are low on confidence, low on morale, and then you've got a lad who's got no fear because he's had no first team football this season. You could see that straight away, couldn't you? Got the ball, he wanted to make things happen. There was one instance where he lost the ball in our own half, and it led to a decent chance for Chelsea. And I thought, I really hope that doesn't knock his confidence. But straight after that, he gets the ball, drives with it, and towards the end, he played in a great through ball for Strand Larsen, just real power and conviction on it, straight to, and Jurgen put it high and wide. But you mentioned Strand Larsen. Tolu didn't even come on yesterday, did he? I think Jurgen played the full.
I mean, to be honest, I was thinking about that as you mentioned that about Tolu, and then I think about the balls that he gave away previously in the last game. That kind of just. So I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what Rob Edwards is going to be able to come in. It reminds me of the Merlin the Magician, Mick McCarthy time. I don't know what he's going to come up with for RE, but yeah, we'll see.
Jesus, maybe, or
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the game itself, Wolves offering very, very little. I think the 3 goals are a little bit frustrating. Gusto Sod is a bit like Football Manager, isn't it, Finn? Where the player scores their first ever goal for the club against your own.
As soon
team.
As they said it on comms, honestly, they were still yet to score in 98 appearances. All right, here we go. I always thought always one of those ones you go, why not chuck the tenner on it?
Yeah,
gamble responsibly.
I think Totti probably could have done better there. I think that's just another.
That's poor, all right.
I think every game that we concede goals or more than one goal, there always seems to be a goal like this where why aren't we tighter on these players? I think the Burnley game, there was one similar. I think there's too many times this happens, and then like you said earlier, Kieran, I think once you concede one goal, you open it because Wolves have got to attack then, and we were just all over the place defensively. One player that did get on the score sheet, Pedro Neto, causing a little bit of controversy, probably not as much as I expected with his celebration. We saw him celebrate a little bit at Molineux last year anyway, but I heard boos from the away end, Key. So if you get booed, I think game's the game, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I've got no problem with it, to be completely honest. He wasn't ripping his shirt off and running to the away fans and silencing us lot. He was celebrating Garnacho, setting him up again. Garnacho, like I mentioned earlier on, ran that game for them. So wanting to celebrate a goal like that I've got no problems with it. I don't get the whole kind of issue. If he'd done an Adebayor, ran down the whole pitch, sprinted the whole pitch, and then slid into the away end, then it's slightly different. But no problem with that for me.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. Obviously, Wolves sat bottom of the table, 2 points, minus 18 goal difference, by far the worst goal difference in the league at the moment. Worst defensive record in the league. Scored the same amount of goals, lowest scorers in the league, but scored the same amount of goals as Forest as well, who do have a game in hand of us. So 8 points behind them at the moment. 4 points behind them. They're about to play in the next day or so. We're 8 points adrift. So, like I said, Rob Edwards going to have a huge job on his hands. We'll talk about the appointment now, chaps. I think we'll probably, if there's other bits and pieces from the Chelsea game, we'll probably bring it up throughout the podcast anyway. But this time last week when we did the podcast, we were none the wiser. We saw Gary O'Neill linked with the job. And it seemed to be on Monday, he was extremely close to potentially getting it until he withdrew from talks. We don't know the exact reasoning for that. He was on Sky last night presenting that game, which I couldn't believe when I saw him on there, to be honest. And he said he didn't feel it was the right time to join the club, but still has a lot of good feelings. I would say it's probably due to the fan reaction on social media about that. We haven't really seen many other links other than, obviously, Rob Edwards, who looks like he is going to be the man in the next day or so, officially confirmed as the Wolves head coach. So a little bit of background, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast will know. There may be some Middlesbrough fans listening as well, if they're all welcome. But yeah, Rob Edwards, 111 appearances for Wolves in between 2004 and 2008. He played under Dave Jones, Glenn Hoddle and Mick McCarthy. He was a first-team coach at the club between 2015 and 2017 under Kenny Jackett, Walter Zenga and Paul Lambert. He has had a couple of games as interim manager as well. And then you look at his coaching background. I think he managed at AFC Telford for a little bit, went to the England setup. Then he was appointed Forest Green manager in 2021, won the League 2 title with them. Luton manager in 2022, when he, of course, got promoted to the Premier League in the first season. I actually think they did, he made a pretty good attempt with that Luton side in the Premier League. Obviously, they did get relegated in the end. And then he left Luton in January 2025. So all the people that keep saying he's got 2 relegations on his CV, he did leave that club about 4 or 5 months before they actually did get relegated. And of course, was appointed Middlesbrough manager in June 25, where he had won 7 of his 14 championship games. Stepped down yesterday for his duties as head coach for Borough. They did end up beating Birmingham City 2-1 at home, with some of his coaching staff taking the role. It's been a little bit of a mess, this situation. I think Wolves, obviously, with the situation that we've already said in the Premier League, the pool of managers is going to be extremely low. I was gobsmacked when some of the calibre of managers that were mentioned, such as your Ten Hags and so on. But what's your overall take on this potential appointment?
Yeah, I think it's a shallow pool that we're fishing in right now, to be honest. I think when we were linked with players like managers like Postecoglou, Ten Hag. They're never going to come.
Postecoglou the other day.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. They were never going to come to Wolves. I was discussing earlier on in the week. First of all, they're not going to want a relegation on their CV. Second of all, they're going to have seen the absolute show that Fosun have kind of done over the last few seasons. Not necessarily giving the manager what he wants, and then Lopetegui leaving for that reason. So, it is a shallow pool. The one shining light in this really is Rob Edwards. I think that there's potential for him to do really, really well. I'm really intrigued to see how it goes, how that reception is with the Wolves fans as well. I think it will go well. My head tells me and my heart tells me that it's going to be accepted and it'll go down fairly well. But I do worry for Rob with obviously the links back to the club, and mostly really, really positive stuff and really good feedback from him being a player, and then obviously coming in as a caretaker at different points as well. My only worry is that things don't go well, fans get frustrated, and then we kind of end up back, where we are now. I really hope that isn't the case for Rob, and I hope that he comes in and he's given everything that he needs to do well. I think the one other thing that looks good from a Rob Edwards point of view is him kind of bringing through some of those younger players throughout his managerial career so far. So I'm intrigued to see what he can do, but pessimistic as always as a Wolves fan. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure right now.
It's weird because the more I think as the hours and the days have gone on, I've warmed to this appointment a little bit more. Of course, I think every Wolves fan would, no disrespect to Rob, probably want a more attractive appointment, maybe someone with more Premier League experience. But like you just said there, Key, I think the pool of managers is extremely shallow. There's not many out there that I think would join with the current situation that we're in, potential funding, what's going on and off the pitch at the football club. Rob Edwards, I think we have to realise, yes, got loads of links and ties with Wolverhampton, just past playing career, coaching career, family nearby. If you take that out of the equation completely, he's taking a massive risk for his own career coming here because, as you would have heard many people say online or the pundits, there's a chance, and we can accept this, there is a chance Middlesbrough are in the Premier League next season and Wolverhampton Wanderers aren't. So this is a huge risk for him. And I think that's why we need to appreciate that as Wolves fans. Yes, we can't necessarily control the mess that the club are in. That's down to Foch and Jeff Shee or whatever. But he's taking that punt, so we've got to appreciate that. And I really hope we can give him a good reception. What I'm worried about is that come to May and for whatever reason, unfortunately, we get relegated or whatever, he's hounded out and booed out and whatever, and he loses his job. I think this is an appointment with one eye, not to be defeatist, but one eye on the Championship, thinking, if we do go down, this is somebody that knows the division, relatively well and hopefully can get us back out of it. But Finn, what's your thoughts on Rob Edwards?
I've literally just been looking at the odds as you were talking then, and Borough are less than 2-1 to go up, and we're 5.5 to stay up. So on the odds, he should have stayed at Middlesbrough, and every part of me being, trying to take my Wolves hat off. He shouldn't move. I don't know why he's doing it. It's purely that it's got to be the ties. He can drive to the training ground from his family home, but his career, as you say, it's a real strange one, and it's got to be those ties that have saved us, really. And yet Wolves fans are going, we maybe wanted someone a bit better, but we've only been able to get that level of manager due to emotions, really, than anything we can offer a manager. So it's a sad state of affairs. I remember what was that podcast where we absolutely lost our heads, where it was Lopetegui, where we were saying we were waiting for his pet, was it his dad was ill or something? Yeah. And then we were saying, God, it's a farce, this search. At least this one's gone a little bit smoother.
I remember that podcast, actually, because that was after we lost to Leicester 4-0, I think. Possibly at home. And
because I saw with Steve Davis as well, he said he was in charge for 8 games. I really don't remember that being that long.
He was, because I keep thinking there were because the Chelsea game, I remember after Lars got sacked, obviously they were in charge for that because they gave, I think Joe Hodge had come on, if I remember. You had these are just off the top of my head. Palace away when Bueno started. Forest, we won that game at home. Leicester, we got smashed. There's 4. I don't know if I can think of any more off the top of my head, though. It's a good quiz question.
Yeah, I didn't think it was it. Yeah. I think, but overall, I think it is with eyes on the Championship, I think. But equally, you'd look at Rob Edwards and go, okay, he couldn't stop the rot once Luton were relegated. He left them in 20th, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, hopefully the quality of play will be slightly better. And although I don't think Luton were exactly, not all their best players didn't leave. I remember they had Doughty, who was a decent FPL pick that season, was still there in the Championship. Pretty sure Morris was still there. Yeah. So, that's my only slight worry. But I think in the position we're in, we're just lucky where this bloke was born. And it gives us maybe a very, very, very slight chance. But I think, it's with one eye next year, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to say, do we think that this hire matches the urgency that we've got right now? I wouldn't say that it does. And so perhaps for the first time in, the Fosun's history, at least, that this is something that they're thinking about for the future. there's not. I don't think there's any club. I think I read a stat earlier on that I don't think there's any club that survived with 2 points after 11 games.
Not in the modern Premier League, no. I put that stat out, and then I found out. I think it's completely different divisions, though. So it's more games and obviously different point systems. But Stoke did it back in like the 50s or something like that.
Right,
so, but in the modern,
I was going to say, is it something like a war started or something? That's why someone stayed up.
So perhaps this is the kind of the rebuild. This is what they're kind of. Part of me just thinks I'm talking absolute nonsense here, and that Wolves are actually thinking ahead of more than the next kind of 6 months. I'd like to think that there is some of that logical thinking in there, but there's a part of my brain that's just going, "You are absolutely talking rubbish." And it's not going to happen.
Ultimately, we should not be in this position as a football club anyway. Like I said, I'm grateful for Rob Edwards coming because I think he's making a huge risk for his own career. But the way we've been led off the pitch, it has been an absolute mess. We've seen it for a few years. We're just sort of downhill, giving what we are made to believe full control to Vitor Pereira and Domenico Tetti, who's also somebody else who left at the start of the week, control. And look at the absolute mess of this playing squad at the moment. Like he can blame Fosun as much as he wants, but if he was given the final word or final say on recruitment, the way the squad is built up is not a squad that's going to compete week in, week out in the Premier League. So you've got a very physical squad there, which funnily enough is probably well suited to the Championship, but not so much the Premier League. So we had news just before we started the podcast as well. It's the move should be confirmed probably Monday, tomorrow. Around £2 million compensation agreed with Middlesbrough on a 3.5-year deal for Rob Edwards. Now, Wolves kept talking about, especially after Vitor's contract stability, because they don't want to keep chopping and changing managers. Obviously, they were forced into this decision. I think Vitor had made decisions that were completely wrong in terms of lineup and things like that. And I think there will still be people turning their nose up at this appointment. But what I need to say to that is, if you were to appoint someone like Ange or someone like Ten Hag or whatever, if we went down, would they still be here next season? Okay. No, they wouldn't. They'd either be sacked or they'd force a hand or they'd walk away. So with Rob Edwards, as long as the level of the quality of football, we can see improvements. I think, he's going to be still in charge of this football club. And all being well, you've got a manager there that's been with you for, it would have been over 6 months from the start of next season to lead you in the right direction. One thing that's not agreed or we're not aware of as of right now is his coaching staff that he's going to be bringing with him. Obviously, all of Vitor Pereira's coaching staff moved away, so it'll be very intriguing. Always quite exciting, actually, to see who a manager brings with him, whether it is people from the former club or people they've played with over the years as well. But Rob Edwards to Wolves looks like that is going to be confirmed as well. Finn, what do we need? What do we need from him? I mean, he's not a miracle worker. Obviously, he's going to need. It would be an unbelievable achievement, like he said, in the modern Premier League era. No one has ever stayed up after this amount of points. But can we dare to dream? If you get to Christmas and you have a handful of positive results, you could maybe see the 17th place in the distance, or do you think this is just a complete write-off for Wolves? Am I talking out my backside?
It's easy to be a bit more inspirational short term. I think when you look long term, and it was being discussed on commentary a lot yesterday, and is it 27 games now, probably 11 wins at a minimum. So your head instantly goes, even though it's not exact maths, you go, can we win 1 in 2? No, we can't.
With the fixtures around Christmas as well, it's a tough list coming up. So.
Exactly, yeah. So you have to think really short term, because if you look a little bit further, the fixtures are horrible. I think that is the main difference in, can Wolves pull off the Great Escape again? We had horrible fixtures to start of last season. And then when you look at the 6 that we won in a row, they were kind. So you've played Burnley and Leeds at home, as we've covered. They'd be ones where you go, right, okay, well, let's bank those. And we haven't been able to bank a single point. I even remember we were laughing, weren't we? The 2 games before, was it Sunderland and Burnley? And I went, oh, what if he gets 0 points? And we burst out laughing, going, oh, he'd have to go then. And that reality's come. So I don't see a world in which we stay up. I was very negative from the start of the season, and I know me and George were probably bringing down that vibe, and you were trying to be a little bit more positive.
I'm always positive, yeah.
I think, yeah. Now, what have you got now for me? I'd love to hear.
I've just said that. Could we finish 17th?
Yeah, but that's based on nothing. We could though.
Go on. I'm trying to reason myself here. I'm trying to think, can we win this football? I'm looking at Palace. Can Rob Edwards gives us this new manager bounce? You pick at like 9 points out of the next 12 or 15. You think, hold on a minute. What I was thinking earlier on, you look at this playing squad, and I know we've lost some big players, but we saw what a lot of those players were capable of with confidence and momentum. With better players, Strand Larson, when he was firing, of course he needs players in form around him. We could all see it. We saw that yesterday. He was absolutely awful at Stamford Bridge yesterday. But all of those players, we've seen what they can do with a little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum. Then they can win football matches. They can compete. They can grind out results. So there's nothing to say that over the next few weeks, something clicks and that can happen again. But it'll be huge because Rob Edwards really... There's going to be a lot of football players here in this current squad that don't want to be playing championship football. And it's in their hands. They either do one in January or they knuckle down and try and, make things right. So I think he will probably want to be getting players in one by one and saying, World Cup year as well, by the way. What do you want? Do you want me to look for you to move on in January and move on? Or you're going to fight for your place or fight for the badge? Because that's
probably...
It's all well and good putting messages out on Instagram and stuff like that, saying we're going to try our hardest. But if you're going to jump ship in January or jump ship in summer, what's the point?
I think that's one of the big problems as well. The January window, Agbadu made a massive difference, albeit how he's done this season, last season. Manetzi as well, again, how he's been this season. But last season, Vitor was putting a lot of those wins down to him alone and trying to bring in a player around the £50 million mark. There might be a player we've identified, but if you're all but down, those players aren't going to want to come. It might have to be loans and could be made permanent if we stay up, but they're very rare, those sorts of deals. So, yeah, it's all looking pretty negative. But you did give me a little glimmer of hope then, to be fair, Dave. A couple of wins. I mean, Palace isn't the ideal game to go into because I think they're phenomenal. So, especially in that 3-4-3, it kills me what we used to be. But, I
think the other concern with it as well, I just looked at the next 6 games. I'm not going to say one of the shining lights that I was thinking because obviously we're playing Villa.
Go on, you used to say Villa. Yeah.
But I can't see us getting there. I can't see us getting anything there. I mean, out of those 6 games, I really struggle to see what we're getting. I guess the other concern, though, just kind of going back to the games this season and especially yesterday, is just seeing that kind of defeated stance from players at the end of the game, like seeing Joe Gomez just looking absolutely gutted at the end of the game. It's really, really concerning, and that above anything else is going to be one of the big jobs that Rob has to kind of turn that frown upside down, if you like. I know it's a cliche saying, but like a lot of the players aren't going to be feeling very confident right now. I mean, Manetzi's shot that he had yesterday where he dragged it wide, like he's like a really, really powerful player. He did well to get into that space and to have that opportunity. But it's one of them when you're down there, things go so against you. So that's going to be another really big thing that Rob has got on his hands. The other thing is he might ask all those players that are in the squad right now in January who wants to be here and who doesn't. But who's going to come to us if we're still sitting on 2 points, or 3 points or whatever it is? I was chatting to a few friends yesterday that there's a genuine concern about Derby's point total.
Yeah,
being realised this season. We've laughed about it for season.
We cannot be that team. We cannot be that team. We could this year, but we cannot.
No, we can't be that team. But it's looking more and more likely as the season goes on.
Yeah. So it's worrying. That's why I listen. I know it's easy, but we'll talk about Borough and the reaction of their fans and stuff in a second. But I do listen to Rob Edwards. I watched some of his interviews from when he was at Luton. I like the way he talks. Like he looks like a motivator to me. He looks like somebody that can.
I like the way he looks.
There we go. Try and get the best out of him. The thing you might know at Luton, because he had the big boy up front with Carl Morris, didn't he? So.
Oh my God, what was his name? He had a good run FPL as well. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I do
Adebayo?
wonder how we
Yeah.
could play with maybe Tolu and Strand, or that sort of idea, because he did have physical players in that Luton team, to be fair. So it may. Look, I know they went down, but I think everybody expected them, Key, when they came up, to break Derby's record at the time, and they gave it a pretty good go. So.
And I think that's another thing that we've got going for us. We're not a small side. We're not a weak side. The players that we've got, it would have been perfect for a Big Sam. Let's be honest. Like,
were you open to the idea of that?
I was asked on an EFL podcast earlier on in the week on Talksport. They were like, "Are you ringing the fireman Sam alarm?" Yeah, and I was like, "Hell no! Like, absolutely not." I know that he's got links to the area. But that's definitely
set piece coach, Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, maybe.
I said that though, like, even though like back in like 10, 15 years ago, I know Wolves completely cocked up when they sacked Mick McCarthy, for argument's sake. But back then there were like firefighter managers that could possibly get you out of trouble. Like then, I think we'd interviewed Warnock, Kerbershy was linked, Steve Bruce, and I now we look back, think flipping heck. But nowadays there's no one like that really, is there? Like you're leaning on having to go to lower divisions, or you're gonna have to go abroad and just find someone completely different that's desperate to manage in the Premier League, like we did with Vitor Pereira last year. So that's why it always makes the sort of appointment process really interesting for fans and the wider space. But yeah, I mean, this is why I'm hoping that Rob Edwards can prove a lot of people wrong, because there are a lot of doubters. He's got a lot of stick online. I really hope he doesn't read social media, by the way, because some of the stuff towards him is not being great, but particularly from the Middlesbrough fans who've gone ballistic. But funnily enough, I think one of their fans said they were going to be getting 6 or 7 million in compensation. So a few of them have kicked off when they saw it was only 2 million today. I think it would be even better if we do manage to nick a couple of his coaches from Middlesbrough, because they're leaning towards them quite a lot. But Key, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, we've seen it firsthand. We've had players such as Mateus Nunes, very similar situation, skip training to force a move. Rob Edwards, it looks like he may have been having discussions with Wolves without permission from Middlesbrough, but I don't even know what to say. I mean, this is we can't act surprised now, can we? This is quite a common thing in football.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's going to be an absolutely new rivalry built out of this, because they absolutely seem to hate us. I mean, even BBC Teesside was getting in on the act yesterday about it's not easy beating the Blues, or you can't all beat the Blues.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I get it. They're riding the crest of a wave right now. Up there, and they had all of their hopes pinned on Rob being the guy to kind of take them back to the Premier League. But things like this happen, and I was actually thinking, maybe it's a separate question for in a bit. When's the last time that we had a manager poached from us? Because I can't remember.
We're never doing well enough, are we?
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
There was rumours with Nuno a few times, wasn't there?
Nuno got offered the Arsenal job, I think, and he turned.
Yeah,
the club refused. That never. Really
but I mean, I think it's it's a positive in a way for Middlesbrough, based on the way that you got them playing and stuff. And I'm glad that they were able to get a result yesterday. Following it all, seeing the abuse that he was getting in the stands.
They had loads of chants warmed up for him, didn't they? Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, they had loads of chants. They had a big banner printed out as well.
Did they?
About wanting, about they only want to see people that want to be here.
Yeah,
I think it was something like that. I'll bring it up in a sec. But they obviously got that together quite quickly as well. I mean, it's football. It's football nowadays, isn't it? Rob, obviously, like you mentioned, he's got those links to being in Telford and his family there. It's a bit of a no-brainer from his point of view. And would he have ever been given this opportunity again to become manager of Wolves? So he also has to look at it from that side. And I think the other bit that we don't necessarily always understand as fans is that it's a job to these guys. They don't have the passion, they don't have the investment into the clubs and the love for the clubs that we do as fans. He's going to be getting a pay rise. You'd expect, coming to Wolves, it's going to be better for him, socially as well. he understands the ethos of the club. He understands the fans. So yeah, like it's a risk for him. I don't really understand, why he's looking to do it based on where we are and everything else that's going on in the club at the moment. But if he can turn it around, then he will become an absolute legend in Wolverhampton.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny thing as well how quick things change, because Middlesbrough fans are now all of a sudden pointing out all the negatives about him, all the negative stats, the bottom half of expected goals or something like that. I think they're all, like you said, Keith, I think they're almost forcing some sort of rivalry as if it's as fans, it's our fault for it,
It's
go on, Finn.
It's the best rivalry because everything they're saying, all the Wolves fans are going, yep, fair. Like, your owners are terrible. Yeah, we know. You're going down.
Go on.
Yeah, probably.
Sue folks. Take them to court. It will be interesting to see what happens.
It's a great rivalry in a way.
Yeah.
The only other thing, it's only Adama Traore we've ever taken, isn't it? I think, from Borough.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think it's a good point, though, Dave. You alluded to it really briefly then. Obviously, Middlesbrough putting out a statement saying that they weren't happy with the approach and, potentially breaking Premier League rules, which could be interesting depending on when they put that complaint in. But I wonder what's going to come of that as well, or whether this is just going to be a case of it's signed, it's done, because obviously their most recent statement it said that they gave permission based on a compensation package being sorted. It'd be interesting to see if anything comes of that as well, or whether we can just draw a line, or Middlesbrough can draw a line under this. I don't think their fans will, but
it'll be interesting if they do. Part of me hopes it is sort of, I was going to say in not in a disrespectful way, but it sort of is. Part of me hopes they sort of peter off a little bit, and for two reasons really. One, we'd get to play him potentially next season, which would be a hell of a match. But also just to prove that, because they're saying how crap Rob Edwards is, and watch what happens. We're going to get a new manager and this and this. And I'd sort of want whoever goes in to fail a little bit to show that Rob Edwards actually was a half decent manager. But it'll be very, very interesting. I think it probably puts to bed any chance of us signing Hayden Hackney in January, to be honest. But
unless he was born in Telford.
But
now, they must just be confused. You go through, the 5 stages of grief? They must be in that one now of, he wasn't any good anyway. But I think if I had a red hat on, I'd be angry, and I'd be like, why are you taking it? So I do get it. I completely get it. But as long as most Wolves fans are agreeing with him online, aren't they? So it's not really.
We've just got, at the end of the day, from a Wolves point of view, we've just got to back him. He's come here to take a huge risk in his career. He understands, the club in regards, he's played for the club over 100 times. I think it's the most appearances he's made for one single club in his career. We've got to back him at the end of the day, and just let's hope that his management skills can and tactics and whatever can get the best out of the current players. And it'll be a very interesting January to see what sort of shops we're going to bring these players in, whether it is, like you said, loans, what divisions it's going to be. Are we going to go abroad? Can't really fit many more players abroad in the current squad registration, so we may need some serious help from Uncle George to see if he can help out with that. But we'll wait and see. Loads of questions, lads. Apologies for anyone listening. I know we didn't touch much on the Chelsea game, but as you probably were, there wasn't huge amounts to talk about, and I'm hoping that we gave you a little bit of insight into our thoughts and the situation with Rob Edwards as well. But loads of questions, to be fair. Andy Hipkins, quite an interesting one. Would the panel, and do you think Rob Edwards will keep the same captain moving forward? Personally, I'll be looking to promote Ladislav Krejci into the role. It's an interesting one, that, because the situation with Krejci, I think he's a great player and I understand the sentiment there. There's a big chance he won't be here next season. And I know we have some sort of...
That's what our captains do.
I was going to say, that's a good reason
give it to Wang. There's an option for us to buy, but I would assume it's if we stayed in the Premier League. But Finn, what do you think? I mean, I suppose he'll probably know his best 11, Finn, within the next couple of weeks or so, or the way he prefers to go. But maybe Doc would probably be aware of a little bit more. I don't know.
it tickled me firing up my first Football Manager 26 save with Wolves, and one of the first recommendations you get is to change Totti's captain due to his poor leadership. I think he's got like 8 out of 20, hasn't he, or something. It suggested Doc actually on Football Manager, but yeah, it wouldn't be a massive, like it wouldn't be a big news story, I don't think, because there's been so many captains. There's got to be 4 or 5 of them have worn the armband already this year. So. Strand Larson, Zhao, Doc, Totti are the ones off the top of my head. So I don't think it's not going to cause a major stir if he changes that. I don't think, because it has been passed around so much. But yeah, there's no natural leader there, as I don't think Semedo was. To be fair, I think he was more of a lead by example, and Lamina with his rumoured personality characteristics, somehow we gave him. That's what we want to set as our team example as well. So it's not been a major thing for Wolves the last few years. So maybe Doc, is he going to start though? I don't know. You just need some consistency about this Wolves team. It's one thing we haven't had. It's been, consistent results is the one consistent thing it's been. And it just needs someone who's going to start every week. So Krejci may be the shout there, but as you say,
Zhao Gomez, maybe.
Yeah, that's who I was going to suggest.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Totti's the game changer
he loses his head very quickly. Totti does, in regards to if he has a bad start to a game, you will not see him recover from that. And I think you need a captain who's quite, I don't know. And
you know what? Look, I've not really seen him kind of be in that kind of gear up. You know how Cody used to do it all the time, and I'm not for one second suggesting that we get Connor Cody back, but although maybe that wouldn't be. I'm joking. I think I'd like to see Andre or João Gomez to be getting it. My heart says Doc, but I don't think Doc's going to be playing enough to be able to get the armband. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think he'll have one eye on who he wants to potentially be captain, but the blessing as well is that we've got the international break for him to kind of, really knuckle down and get his feet under the desk, if you like, to have an understanding there. But yeah, I'm not sure Totti's the one going forward. Who knows?
I got sacked on Football Manager, by the way, Finn.
Did you?
That was good, man. I went on a 13.
You had a really bad run there.
I had a 13-game winless run. Changed system and everything. It went down.
That gets you a new contract at Wolves.
Yeah. Went down to the last game of the season, and I had to get a point against Burnley, who were bottom of the league and already relegated. I had to get a point to stay up, and Chichua got sent off after 10 minutes, and I lost 1-0. And then I was saying to Lauren, I was just playing it in bed this one. I said, even if we go down, I hope they'll keep me in the job because we'll smash the championship. And then click continue as a party sacked by Wolves. I was like, no. So it's literally ruined my weekend, but we move. A lot of questions about recruitment and so on. Irish Wolf, not to get too Farage, but wouldn't mind reverting to a more British core group that know the league. Others mentioned Tommy Doyle to be recalled in January. Guys like Adam Webster, Solly March, Harry Wilson, Ross Barkley, Rico Henry, all with 6 months remaining. Potential options. It's number one. You've got to get them to join us, really. But I don't think many of them excite me too much. I don't.
It's also that's not even an opinion, is it? It's a fact soon that we would have to actually register them. They've got to.
Yeah, we have to have British. I don't think there's any, as it stands, there's no room for any more foreign players in our squad registration.
So yeah, it's a requirement, really.
Yeah.
Is Doyle an option to recall?
I can't remember, because Blues have got an option to buy him if they get promoted. So I don't know, even though if we can.
Surely you can't break that.
Yeah, we would have to probably, as stupid as it sounds, we'd probably have to pay Birmingham to get him back.
It's not as stupid as it sounds. Yeah. That sounds like a good Wolves deal. No.
A lot of people asking about Mane's performance last night. Strand Larson, we discussed all of that sort of stuff. Rich Foster, when, if at all, do you think we might actually get 3 points this season? There's a genuine case that we could go 38 matches without a win.
Villa.
Villa, you could back it up. That would be brilliant.
I'm gonna back that. It's recorded now. So,
Finn, what do you reckon? Why not Palace? Why not 2 weeks' time at Molineux?
Because they're class. There's no.
They're unreal.
Respect Rob Edwards' triple rules.
who's in and around? You don't beat West Ham. I'm trying to think of the home games because your biggest home games, Burnley at home's gone, Leeds at home's gone. So you've got Forest at home.
I'll check the fixtures.
We're not much better away. What was it? Only 1 goal scored all season away, they said on TV yesterday.
Forest at home the Wednesday night.
When is it?
3 games time.
December 3rd.
Oh, is it?
I fancy that one. Actually, Morgan Gibbs White on Under the Lights. Not so sure.
Yeah, we'll be seeing that again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there might not be. Burnley away.
You know what? Best Christmas present, Brentford at home, game before Christmas.
Fulham at home. I wasn't impressed with Fulham, really. I mean, I know they beat us 3-0, but
Fulham at home. You're going towards the end of the season here, Finn. Surely we get a win before.
I'm just trying to think of any game. I'm not thinking chronologically. I'm thinking of a team that we can beat.
Fulham at home is our last home game.
There you go. We'll rescue it there.
We're on 10 points. We win that game to get rid of Derby's record.
Top off.
Yeah.
Pitch invasion because we broke.
That'd be funny. That would. Oh gosh. Anyway, which players out of the current squad would you be happy to keep next season? So this is from Leo Fellows. I'd assume it means if we go down. Again, this was someone I was thinking of earlier because I think there's a lot of talent still in that squad. I know necessarily it's not balanced and good enough to compete in the Premier League right now, but you look at that in the Championship, and I know it's not as straightforward as going down, smashing everyone, and coming back up. But Wolves would have to move on a hell of a lot of players, which I don't think would necessarily happen. So you have a good amount of very decent players. I think you even look at the likes of Pedro Lima would come back off loan. You know, you Hugo Buenos and Muller Wolves. I can't necessarily see them going elsewhere. I think you'd probably lose the likes of Andre and João Gomez. You have Manetti,
Strand Larson.
I think Tolu stays.
Arias probably goes back to South America.
Well, you got a good core of players there that'll play. You know.
Yeah, there's a team that gets you up without making any transfers, I'd imagine. If you kept Tommy Doyle as well, maybe, because I think we're light in midfield anyway, aren't we? Let alone if Andre and I think
Sarr probably goes.
Maybe need someone in
Johnston could maybe stay.
I think, I was going to say, I think Sarr goes. Johnston and Bentley probably stay as they are. Andre and João probably off.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Andre went in January, you know.
Yeah.
No, I saw Man United page saying, should we get one of the two in January? Cut price deals. Well, it's going to be cut price either way, isn't it?
And you'd expect JSL to go as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine the loss we'll make on that? Can you...
He's probably got a relegation release clause in there. Huang stays.
I'd imagine that.
I bet he's absolutely gutted that Newcastle move didn't come off. Anyway.
Which positions in January do we think we need to focus on to get the team firing again?
All of them.
I think attackers
every single one.
Wingers a big one for me, and possibly a slightly more progressive-minded midfielder.
I think they're your places are, as you say, out wide, but it depends how Edwards is going to set up. Because I'm so bored watching Wolves at the moment. If he did go for some sort of structured 4-2-3-1, and you've got one of Arias and Lopez maybe in that central area, and even Mane, you know what? If he started left wing next game, I would not be bothered. You might have to balance it out with like a Bellegarde out on the right or something. I don't know for the moment, but that would give me some hope. And if you got someone in maybe on the right or on the left, someone that's exciting that can run with a ball, which should be a bare minimum in any team, but we don't have it. So as you say, that should be the priority. And probably what you said, someone progressive in midfield. I think for the amount of goals we've conceded, the centre backs are all 6 or 7 out of 10 every week. I don't think they're Agbedu. Maybe you could beg to differ on a few occasions, but there's 6 or 7 of them, and they all seem to be doing an average job, you'd say, when it's not a pressing thing that we need another centre half. Wing backs, you've got too many already, even though they're not really
good enough
impressive.
quality there.
No, not at all. Maybe Hugo just about qualifies.
What has Rob been playing at Borough? I've not paid too much attention at Borough.
I was going to
They have been. Are they 4-2-3 on? Because they've got that Naipan, haven't they? The City.
Yeah. I was going to have a look at that and the Luton tactics as well to see how, when they come up, to see how they were playing.
They were 5 at the back, weren't they?
Yeah. So
definitely.
I just don't know what would work best for us currently, to be honest.
Let's have a look. In his final game, which was a 3-0 defeat to Watford.
Who for? Is that for Luton?
No, for Middlesbrough. He played a 3-5-2.
He drew 1-1 in the week with Leicester, by the way.
Oh, did they? Sorry, I went to the weekend
So
before.
he mixes it up. So he plays a 4-2-3-1, or away he plays 3 at the back quite a lot.
Yeah, that's actually Matt Target, left wing back.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So we
Oh,
could see
they've
a
got
bit
that kid
of
from Grasshoppers. I
flexibility.
forgot about that.
Be interesting, like people in the Championship as well. Sorry, people like Totti as well. It'd be interesting to see people like playing. I think they're good enough, more than good enough in that division. So you would hope that we can bounce straight back up. But like I said, it's never as straightforward as that, to be honest.
I don't really want to think about being relegated. Yeah. Like, I know that it's probably going to have to be something that we, really start to consider. But the thought of it after everything that we've done over, Fosun's reign and getting back up and the good times that we've had, it just pains me so much that we're not further ahead.
Yeah.
And
that we're even considering this right now. Like, it's bonkers.
Yeah.
Well, we were signalling it probably 3-4 years ago.
We've been circling the drain for a while.
Yeah, and I know it sort of became a joke in the sort of stop giving money to the esports team, whatever. But people were saying back then, no matter what brand you build off the pitch, if we're not winning games on the pitch, you ain't going to see kids walking around in Wolves shirts when we don't win a game all season till Fulham at home. So it's the core there is the 11 players on the pitch, and it's not, we've got good at esports, therefore it's a completely separate thing. And I get that they were trying to compete in bringing revenue in other places to be able to, because we had FFP problems, and that was one of the ways we could maybe solve it, etc., etc. We've been over it so many times, but there have been fans sort of seeing the iceberg ahead for a long, long time, and it doesn't feel like we've been listened to. And fans, we watch the team more than anyone. Dave, you live and breathe updates every couple of hours on Wolves. Yeah. You probably are a bit more positive than the average, but you can see when something's wrong with Wolves. You can see when something's going right with Wolves, and it's, as fans are seen as, they're just the fans in the corner. We know our stuff a lot of the time, and unfortunately, we've been proved right.
I think that the other concern, not to bring it down even more, is I don't think that the ownership really understand what this means if we go down. Like they started with us being down there, and it was all momentum and us doing really, really well. I don't think that they fully appreciate just how bad this will be for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And all the stuff that they want to do with the ticket pricing, that's been going up. That's going to have to come down if we go down. They're going to lose so much from a corporate point of view. They're not going to get the match day fans that just turn up for whatever. They're not going to get the stuff from abroad. So they need to be listening to what we're saying right now, because we've been there, and I think I saw someone as well before. This is a lifetime thing for us. We were there way before them. We'll be there way after them. But they need to realise, what's going on right now, and it's not great.
Not just for the club itself, but and the fans, the city as well, will die a death.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not necessarily their sole responsibility, but that obviously for them, they've got to see that. A lot of people, their livelihood also depends on this football club and how well they're doing, and the Wolverhampton City Centre without match going fans and things like that. There's probably numbers out there, but I'd be very intrigued to see what their numbers would drop to, like the pubs and things like that in the city centre. This football club, it's massive for a lot of people, and it's worrying that the club don't seem to want to take on board concerns that fans have got, and it'll be interesting to see what does happen if there are other bids for the club, or over the next few weeks if things start to kick off in terms of protests and things like that as well.
It is hard because the last few months I've been trying to sort of not get too down about it, and you go, well, it's their money, not mine, and you try and give that sort of hard face look, and then when it comes back to it, it's your club and you love them, and I've got Wolves stuff all around this room, and you can't just switch it off, can you? It's hard, but at the face of it, they're losing a considerable amount of money, and as you said, the ripples then go out further when you actually think about it. The city, the fans, it doesn't bear thinking about, but I think soon we're going to have to face the reality.
Yeah,
I think that's the main concern for me. Whether they're even contingency planning. We mentioned it before that I don't feel like there's a plan B here. Like, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes out the next few weeks.
Yeah,
it's got to be break glass and call Uncle George. You'd imagine is the only plan B. Sure.
When first joined, I mean, the first season was just all over the place because the takeover happened a little bit later than I think originally planned. So I think they were just throwing everything at it, and it didn't quite fall into place. Second season, it did, and it seemed like that second season they had an idea, project, roadmap, whatever you want to call it, and probably think I used COVID last week or the week before as like a marker. After that it seems that had just gone in the bin, and there's no direction or anything of where this football club's going, and that's a concern for me. I think really, even when we go down, we need a plan in place. We need them to know what's going on really.
I think that the other part of it as well, just not to labour this point too much, but it's the people that we've lost from the club. Really, really good people that have gone that had Wolves' best interests at heart. And I don't know how many of those are still left at the club that are, that have left for whatever reasons unknown in some instances. So yeah, that's a big concern for me as well, because it just appears that it's Jeff and what he says goes. And that's the big concern for me.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. I'm really hoping that the appointment of Rob Edwards refreshes things a little bit. Wolves are back again, and he's got a massive job, as we know. And everyone, if you're watching, let us know your thoughts on YouTube in the comments section. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, obviously leave us a 5-star review as well, and on YouTube hit the like button and subscribe. Key, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. Where can people find you if they wish?
Yeah, so you'll find me looking after the Old Gold Pack Twitter page. I also do have my own personal one, but a lot of my time's taken up on the Old Gold Pack one right now. So that's where you'll find a lot of my stuff. But you can also find me. I've unprivated my Instagram, so you'll be able to see me on there as well.
No, brilliant, mate. Thank you. Thanks for jumping on as well. I'm sure we'll catch up with you throughout the season as well. Finn, thanks for chatting again. Where can people find you if they wish?
Finners everywhere. I've had quite a few Mexicans in the last week rediscover all my stuff again. So I was thinking as we were talking about the championship, then if it was like some young Mexican striker coming through, that would be superb next season. But yeah, Finners everywhere.
I'm at Dave as a party everywhere, and of course we're at Talking Wolves everywhere as well. If you want to keep up to date with all the latest Wolves news, obviously the Rob Edwards news, I'm sure there'll be more of that over the next few days or so. Please do so. I'm sure we'll get some content out as well in regards to the new head coach, like we mentioned a little bit there, tactics, find out what's gone on from the Middlesbrough point of view, possibly the Luton point of view as well. So hopefully we'll find out a little bit more on that, and then hopefully for our next podcast we are celebrating a win against Crystal Palace. Let's cross everything, everyone. Let's see. But lads, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you very, very soon.